right, Matt, talk to me on the lease side of things, especially as we're looking at, our investors. And I think the big impact that we saw previously in terms of, as you mentioned, all those purpose-built rentals coming to fruition. And it's not that there was a ton of them here as we look at York, but still nonetheless, we want to make sure that we're monitoring this.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, when a lot of things come down to supply and demand, and we're really starting to see a lot of supply on at least the rental side. Not enough to make a staggering difference, but enough to have dropped prices 8.5% year over year. We were hovering around the $3,000 mark for the average rental
Yeah.
property, and we've got it down to $2,700. So that's nice to see some pressure on that side. Now, ultimately, when rental prices are falling, you know, prices for the real estate have to come down a little bit as well, because what's the incentive for a renter to go buy a house if it's way cheaper to rent? So when you're saving almost $300 a month on your rent, that has a factor to do with prices of real estate as well. So again, seeing an uptick in the transaction volume, up 2.5% month over month, but up 21.4% year over year. And at the end of the day, no one's buying real estate, so they're typically more renters going into the market, which is what we're seeing there. The new listing volume up 1.1% month over month, but 43.2% year over year. And this is just more the amount of inventory that's coming online and going into the market here. And then the median days on market has stayed the same. It takes about 19 days to rent the property out. And even termination volume down 11% month over month, but up 65% year over year, which tells me, people are still trying to get a higher rent. And this is a little bit more sticky of an area, because if you own a rental property and you have to get a certain amount of rent to cover your bills, you're going to stay higher for longer. And maybe we're getting into that situation now where, prices have come down $300. We're getting close to where rents are going to potentially stabilize.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is the interesting part. You look at new listings, you're like, holy smokes, there's so many new listings there. Then you go to active listings, you're like, wow, like it's piling up there. But the difference from everywhere else is that the lease volume is staying right with it.
Yeah, it's the
So
highest it's been.
it's the highest it's ever been. And that ultimately has people aren't moving into purchased homes, so they're moving into rentals. And with the price of rentals falling, it's more of an incentive, and it's a little bit cheaper for them to do it that way. And then when we look at price, we're still way above where we were in 2021, which was $2,400. Whereas 2025, I don't know why it says 2,650. Oh, this is still May. So we would be a little bit higher on this side. What was 2021 was the yellow. So yeah, it's roughly around the same distance on this chart.
Yeah, it's already hovering around here.
But when we look at the months of inventory on the next chart, it's only 1.68 months. So even though we have this huge influx of new listings, huge active listings sitting there, they're getting absorbed quite quickly.
Yeah. And this is, of all the market segments we've looked at, this is the most competitive, is the rental market in York region right now.
Yep.
Below 2 months worth of inventory. More rentals than ever happening, more transactions. And I think, like you said, that's just as we're seeing sales volume drop, people are going somewhere, so they're going into rentals.
Yep.